To first understand Israel and Ireland's importance, we must understand why God would place creation there. Now, God places creation in areas where survival rate is very high. So, let's first look at Ireland. Now, there was a lot more land mass, and if you can see the lighter parts here, the lighter blue parts never used to be underwater. Once the atmosphere got destroyed by the nuclear war, the War of the Gods, Lemuria versus Atlantis, once the atmosphere collapsed, these areas got flooded over. And when these areas got flooded over, Ireland kind of lost its importance because before, Ireland used to be a central location. You would have been able to walk from Ireland to Canada or from Ireland pretty much anywhere. It was the central location, and that's why it was the capital of Atlantis. Now, if we look, we can actually tell exactly where the capital Atlantis was. Called the Hill of Tara. So this is the Hill of Tara. This is where the two stones were laid. The Ark of the Covenant. The two tablets were laid here. They weren't really tablets, they were testaments. And a testament, it goes back to when Jews took each other to court. You had to bring your testaments, and your testament, it was two balls. The word comes from testes. That's why when you're in school you have tests. They have to make sure that you have the testicular fortitude to pass the test. This was a replacement. This is a phallic symbol. Before they had this, they had the Stone of Scorn. Stone of Scorn is the Ben stone. It's where the Atlantean kings were crowned. Okay, so Ireland's kings were really Atlantean kings. The Hill of Tara was actually the Hill of Torah. That's where the Torah was kept. So, like I said, Ireland was a central location for Atlantis. There was some land here as well, but the central location of Atlantis was always... I had my pointer on Iceland, please excuse me for that, but the central location was Ireland. And there was a princess that came to Ireland from Egypt to guard it, and she ended up dying. Her name was Scotta, and Scotta is where we get the name Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia, so New Scotia. And that's where a lot of treasure was buried. So Oak Island. Now why do they call it Oak Island, right? Oakleys. What do Oakleys do? Oakleys correct your vision. It goes back to the owl and everything. So after the flood, Israel kind of lost of it, or not, Ireland lost kind of its importance strategically, and what took its place was Israel after the flood, because Israel now became the central landmass, the central location where you could travel anywhere, at least on this part of the planet, anywhere within reason by land, right? God's law was always in the law of the land, the civil law. But now Ireland has lost that power, so that power has been given over to Israel. Why Israel is so important is because it's the landmass that connects Africa to the Middle East. That's why it's so important. And if you look now, if you have a globe, like a physical globe at your house, you would find this very interesting, that if you take a point, the edge of the point of South Africa, okay, the point of South Africa, and you draw a line all the way to the end, Siberia. If you draw a line from there to there, and then you draw another line from Spain all the way to the edge of India, which is the longest cross line, that cross will go all the way straight through Jerusalem. Geopolitically speaking, Israel is the most important area of land, because you can tax all of Africa. And Africa is rich in minerals, but they really want to make the Israel border from here all the way to Kuwait, and they want to connect it all the way up to Syria. Quite possibly they'd like to bring it all the way up to here to here to here. If they can block off this area, they can tax the entire world. They can tax the entire world off of this part. That's when you know the Antichrist is going to show up, is when Israel expands from here to here to here. That's why, the whole Syria and Iraq, that's why it's getting destroyed. Because they're creating this new Israel. And the Jews that are there are some people from the tribe of Judah, so technically there is still some real Jews that are there. God uses Satan to bring forth his plan. There's a reason why it's only the Mormons really that hand out the King James Bible. He's using them, right? Their motives are different, but there's an underlying. There's an old saying: you don't ever stop your enemy while they're making a mistake. So they're literally handing out the Word of God for free. So I just thought that was really interesting.